Hey Playas, how you doing? Welcome back to Playas Guide. This episode of Playas Guide, I'm going to cover the top 10 rarest games on the Sega Master System. And I'm going to have a friend of mine, Oaz, the master of the Master System, who streams on the Playas Guide Twitch channel every Tuesday nights at 8:30. This guy is going for a complete Sega Master System collection, and it is his favorite console. So he's going to give you guys the inside scoop on some of the other games that are not as well known and uncommon, and some different variants to collect for on the Sega Master System. So stay tuned. If you're not aware, Playas Guide is streaming daily content on Twitch with various different retro gaming streamers, bringing you the highest quality of retro gaming on Twitch. Now, Oaz, who you're going to see later in this video, he's going to talk about some of the uncommon games that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. He's a streamer on the channel. So please follow us over on Twitch if you like watching streams on Twitch. If not, be sure to give the Playas Guide YouTube a subscription and hit the bell notification, because otherwise it does nothing. So to kick things off, coming in at number 10 is Wonder Boy 3. Now this game was kind of teetering. I wasn't sure if I was going to put it in the top 10 or not. But you know what? It has enough demand, it has enough value, and it's uncommon enough that I think it deserves to be on this list. Number 9 on the list is Psycho Fox. Now this is a game I don't know much about and don't see very often. So I've heard that it's very rare, and I don't know much about it and never see it. So I felt that it definitely belonged on this list, and number 9 is the spot that I'm going to say that it fits in the top 10. At number 8, you got Yi, Vanished Omen. Now this game is very hard to come by. You will not find it very often. The thing about the Sega Master System, however, is that, you know, I don't see a ton of Sega Master Systems or Master System games around in North America, so these rarer or more uncommon games are really hard to find. Another one, and next up on the list, is King's Quest. It's in the same boat as this last game. It must have had a pretty short print run. Now I know it was more popular obviously on the PC, so maybe it didn't sell too well on the Sega Master System for that reason. Alex Kidd and Shinobi World. Now this game is one that is very hard to come by. It's also very popular, which is one of the reasons that it sells for a little bit more and is hard to come by. Not people are letting this game out of their collection. Many people even consider it to be the best Alex Kidd game in the Sega Master System series. Elf. You know the hit popular show, but you probably don't know the game. It didn't get the best reception. There wasn't a lot of hype behind this game or a lot of other Elf games out there that, you know, people were interested in. So you think, being one of the only or the only Elf game on a home console, there were some other games on PC, I think, it would have got a little bit more reception because of that. But it didn't. The game struggled in development and overall didn't come out as, you know, a great game on the Sega Master System. So that could be why the sales maybe weren't great, didn't get a good reception. But, you know, you got to wonder, because it's Elf. You would think, you know, that it wouldn't be as rare as it is. But it is. It's definitely deserves to be number 5 on this list. Power Strike. Now this is a shooting game that is pretty rare. It's one that you don't really hear too much about unless you're going for a complete Sega Master System collection. And this is a game I don't know too much about, but from what I understand, it didn't get that wide of a release. So the print runs of all these games, I really couldn't tell you. I can't find those anywhere, but this seems to be one that didn't have a big print run. Now, something I want to say about these games before I go any farther, is many of them are Blue Label games, like Power Strike and Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. They have a Blue Label on them, and that makes them harder to find. Now, OAS is going to talk a little bit more about the Blue Label and how there are some different variants for some of the games, but some games only had a Blue Label release. Number 3 is Golden Axe Warrior. This game has a US sticker on it. It is also a late release in the lifespan of the Sega Master System. It came out in 1991. A lot of people were playing better and similar games like Zelda, and this game didn't quite blend in with the rest of the Golden Axe series, so fans may not have been familiar with it and could have possibly caused low sales due to a poor reception and a late release. Number 2 is another game with a US sticker, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog. So Sonic the Hedgehog also was released in PAL, but that version is much easier to find than the US version. The only difference is, like I mentioned, is a little sticker, and that brings the value and rarity of this game up significantly. Now, the last and final game, the rarest game for the Sega Master System, and most of you probably already know what I'm going to say, is James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing. So this game is based off of a game called Final Blow. It's pretty much the same game. So James Buster Douglas defeated Mike Tyson, and he only had a very short run as the champion, which probably contributed to the run of this game and its success, since Mike Tyson had dominated the boxing scene for so long. James Buster Douglas was only there as the champion briefly, but this was Sega's way of kind of sticking it to Nintendo's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which they weren't so successful at. And now I'm going to pass things off to Oaz.
Playas, I'm a Wazram. To continue on with what Ted was talking about, games he described, Psycho Fox. If you've played Decap Attack on the Sega Genesis, Psycho Fox was the original and Decap Attack came after. Ys Vanished Omen, you need to play that with the sports pad, aka the trackball. Roll into your enemies. Talking about Power Strike. Power Strike had a very short print run. The first way to get it was a mail-in offer. You had to cut the UPC, hold that in, and later on it had a short retail release. Talking about the UPC codes, they replaced the UPC code by just sticking a sticker on the back of the case. This is Spider-Man for the Master System, and as you can see in the lower right-hand corner, it's just a little sticker they threw over on the plastic, not on the actual paper. And that's the way to identify a game that, like Golden Axe Warrior and Sonic the Hedgehog, that are American releases. It has that UPC sticker, and it commands a high price. As far as the Blue Label games go, there was Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. It was released as a Blue Label. Enduro Racer, Ghostbusters, Outrun, Rambo, Double Dragon, Fantasy Zone, Reggie Jackson Baseball, Slapshot, and California Games. And Slapshot is the only one that I have with the Blue Label. The thing I wanted to talk about is, that Ted didn't touch on, is the card games, which were small little cards that look like cue cards from the TurboGrafx 16, like this Spy versus Spy. It has a little sleeve, and they had a special case for them that was slimmer than the regular Master System cards, or cases, and it had a spot for the card and then the manual. And with those, we had F-16 Fighting Falcon, which is one of the few games that won't work with the power-based converter because it requires some hardware that was originally in the SG-1000. Also Great Soccer, Bank Panic, which are very hard to find complete, and then Hang On, Ghost House, Great Soccer, My Hero, Spy vs. Spy, Super Tennis, Teddy Boy, and Transbot. And those are the only ones that were released here in the United States. Overseas, a lot of those also had releases on cartridges. So if you want to play the game but you can't find the card, look for cartridges from overseas.
That's it for this episode of Playas Guide. You can follow Playas Guide on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and you can join our Discord if you want to talk about some retro video games and collecting, because Playas Guide wants to be your source for retro gaming and collecting. Until next week, later, Playas.